Are you going to San Francisco? Be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. In the streets of San Francisco, gentle people with flowers in their hair. Greetings, mods and rockers. Welcome to Baggy Hi-Fi, this YouTube channel devoted to record collecting and the vinyl community here in the UK. Well, how'd you fancy this time round listening to some needle drops from the 60s, from the Freakbeat and pop era in the UK? In fact, music recorded by the BBC. Now, maybe for people outside of the UK, it's hard to really understand how important the BBC has been over the years for bringing us music. And the BBC in the late 60s had to catch up with pop music, really, because the pirate stations were gaining quite a big audience. And so in 1967, Radio 1 was launched and became a platform for pop music. And the BBC was obliged to air a considerable amount of live music. And over the years, a lot of these live sessions have been reissued on vinyl and CD. For example, something like this really nice double collection of The Who sessions at the BBC. It's an official release, BBC Sessions. And of course, going into the 70s, the Peel sessions, 70s and 80s, John Peel was acclaimed, rightfully so, for championing new music and airing the famous Peel sessions. Yeah, so the BBC did broadcast a lot of this really interesting music, very vital music of the time. Some of it I thought was lost. I think some of the TV recordings have been lost, but a lot of radio sessions have come out, just for example like that Who record I've just shown. Now, myself and Ed Pinsent, who you may have seen, made a couple of videos with him, the man who behind the Sound Projector magazine and the radio show, and we must do another one soon. Sorry, Ed, for dragging my feet over that. But now and again we'll WhatsApp each other and show what recent records we've managed to find. It's like a kind of private Instagram, I guess. But Ed showed, I think, 3 records that he bought a while back from a local shop that were on the Top Sounds label, a label I hadn't heard of, and it was obscure radio sessions from the BBC that have been reissued, and reissued very well, really nice packaging. And he said, this is probably just right up your street, and he was right. That kind of stuff. Freakbeat, UK psych, British pop of the 60s is right up my alley. So I was really excited to see that there was a label called Top Sounds. They were issuing this stuff, and I don't know how I hadn't come across it before. Anyway, I now have 3 albums on the Top Sounds label, which I'd like to show you in this video. And this first one is was released in, I think it's 2011. It's called Radio Times. And it features some quite well-known artists, as you can see. Jimi Hendrix, Deep Purple, The Yardbirds, The Move, Tomorrow, Barclay James Harvest, very underrated band, Love Sculpture, Dave Edmunds' early band. And it's a really, really well put together, attention to detail production. Limited edition, I think. No, this one isn't actually, but it's released on CD as well. But what is great about the Top Sounds releases is that each one has a very, very nice booklet, and the typography is very much based on the BBC Radio Times magazine. Lots of pages, very small print, discographies of the bands involved. It's just wonderful, really. A labour of love. It reminds me of the glory days of the Bam Caruso label, which I can't stop mentioning. But yeah, really excellent clippings from magazines at the time. So this is the first volume, Radio Times. I'm going to do some needle drops from these records as well. So yeah, nice polyline sleeve, and this one sort of looks a bit like a Parlophone label. Isn't this one? Volume Radio Times in mono, and these are official. They are collaborations between the Top Sounds label and the BBC. Now this next one is volume 1 of Shapes and Sounds. This one's titled Orange and Red Beams from the BBC Archives, 1967 to 1969. A montage of all the bands involved on this one. And on this one, slightly more obscure bands, Timebox, that excellent mod Freakbeat band. Tomorrow, again, featuring Keith West. The Montanas, one of my favourite sort of harmony pop bands of the 60s. Kaleidoscope, another one of my favourites. The Spectrum, famous for recording the Captain Scarlet theme, Jerry Anderson. The Gentle Influence. This one also features a really nice booklet. Again, with lots of lovely adverts from the 60s. Again, typography like the 60s Radio Times. Lots of detail, record labels. Yeah, this one is limited. Mine's 155 of 500. It's a shame that they were limited in some ways. I think the CDs are still available. They're not too limited. I'll show you the label on this one because some of you may know, I've come across the BBC transcription records, which fetch high prices now. They are vinyl pressings of live shows and radio sessions from the BBC. So this one apes that label, the BBC transcription label. Very, very nicely done. And the pressings are great. Really can't fault them. So, as I say, I only have 3 so far from the Top Sounds label. But they have been issuing us some new records recently. There's one compilation of some obscure mod tunes called Raw Mod, which I quite fancy getting. There's a 10-inch of Billy Fury radio sessions, including his version of Bowie's Silly Boy Blue, which I'd really like to get as well. Anyway, I'll show you the third record. This is Shapes and Sounds Volume 2, Shades of Deepest Purple from the BBC Archives, 1967 to 1971. This one came out in 2007, this compilation. I'll show you the booklet in this one. Love the adverts on the back. It's adverts for Lulu's face cream, some Discotron record players to win in competition, pop art panels to stick on your car, the golden age of psychedelia. The bands featured on here are the Casuals, the Mirage, the Alan Bown, I've spoken about recently in my videos, the Bystanders, who were predecessors of the band we later knew as Man, well, Wales's finest. Obscure bands like Killing Floor and Portrait, who I've never come across before, and The Gun. This is equally as good as the other volumes, so highly recommended. This is a limited one, 305 out of 500. You should still be able to track it down on Discogs, and I really heartily recommend these 3 volumes, and I'm on the hunt for more from the excellent Top Sounds label. So I'm going to do some needle drops now, and I'm just going to come back with a little bit of a bonus at the end, another 60s bonus. So see you on the other side of the needle drops.
Here in our studio this week, a group that must make it along, the Montanas. Now this song was written for the Montanas by Jackie Trent and Tony Hatch, and it's titled Step in the Right Direction.
You used to tell me that you couldn't give a damn, and you had the right to live the life you chose. Your funny friends were always somewhere near at hand, just to lead you where your store began to close. Now the lost are seen the light of day. Come with me and let me show the way. It's a step in the right direction, baby. You can leave it all behind. It's a step in the right direction, baby. Everything is gonna be just fine. Sunshine day, sunshine day, in the bright, burning haze. It's the first of the golden days. On the lawn, in the shed, there are things that we thought were dead. On the lake, there's a boat with the red sail keeping it afloat, and nobody wearing a coat. It's a royal blue summer sunshine day today. It's a royal blue summer sunshine day today. 19 on the grass, empty bare arms are seen to pass, with tattoos on the war that the suns never saw before. And the bees don't complain, they are eating hamburger again, and nobody's thinking of rain. It's a royal blue summer sunshine day today. It's a royal blue summer sunshine.
Well, seeing as this is a 60s themed video this time round, I thought I would show you just some bonus records, some singles, 7-inch singles, going a little bit further back in time from the Top Sounds compilations I've just shown, going back to the early 60s. Now, the evergreen Telstar, nice EP here. Got the headlines of the Tornadoes reaching number 3 and with the Telstar. So this EP features the Joe Meek produced tunes Telstar, Popeye Twist, Love and Fury and Jungle Fever. It's on the Decca label. Lovely blue Decca label, blue and silver Decca label. You can never have enough copies of Telstar. Now these next two are also Joe Meek productions, The Alchemist of Pop. This is a John Layton tune from 1962, Lone Rider, backed with Heart of Stone. And Lone Rider's a really nice tune if you haven't heard it. It's has some of those type girl backing vocals reminiscent of John Layton's most famous hit, Johnny Remember Me. This next one is from 1963. It's another John Layton tune, Cupboard Love, a bit more of an Adam Faithy kind of tune. The backing is Land of Love. I do prefer Lone Rider compared to this one, but it's can never have enough of Joe Meek's productions, can you really? So yeah, lovely threesome there of 45 RPM 60s gems. See you in the next video. Hope you're all keeping well. Autumn's on its way. See you soon.
You can hear me roaring.
just as lonely and sad as me. First you cry, little baby, then you sigh, little baby, then you yell, then you shout, but you might